Well, my grandpa used to say to me, Luke, you got to give up things you love for things you love even more. And at some point in his life, he had to give up alcohol because even though he loved it, he loved my grandma more. The truth is that you do have to give up some priorities in your life for things that are just going to require a little higher value in your life. I love how the Bible takes like concepts that we kind of know in our culture, but then like gives them fresh, new meaning. See, when Jesus is asked, what is the greatest commandment? He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your mind and all your strength. And then he says, the next greatest commandment is love your neighbor as yourself. But then in Luke, in this other passage, he's talking about like what it's going to take to be a follower of Jesus. And he says, if you don't hate your mother and father, then you can't be my follower. Is anything going to come higher of importance than God? Because if it is, then this relationship's not going to really work. See, if you picture with me this shelf in your life where it's like all your priorities, like family, friends, time with loved ones, your pets, your video games, everything you love in life, your hobbies, your time that's just quiet and alone, your art, like everything that you value in life on this big shelf, and you just like think about where those things are kind of landing. There's this top shelf that is reserved for God, and nothing else can go there. See, the bottom line is God must come first. And we have to figure out, how does that look? Like, what does that look like in my life? Well, there's a couple ways that you can try to figure out what that looks like in your life, because I don't want it to just be some abstract thing that you like think, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, put God first. Okay, great. And then move on with your life. This is a real thing in your life, guys. And so the first thing you need to do is actually spend time with God. You can read his word. The Bible is like literally the word of God given through people to us to read. And it's relevant for your life. I'm always telling you guys, actually read the Bible. It's on all your devices. You have paper versions. I can give you a Bible if you want. Like, read the Bible. The second thing is to pray. I talk about praying all the time, but praying is so important. It doesn't have to be like always asking God for all these stuff, but really just like spending time with him, talking to him, just like talking to God and bringing him into your life, into your decisions. My friend Phil always says, just toss one up. You just want to go and like complain to God, or just be like, I'm really having a hard time, or just say thank you. Like, and not this whole song and dance. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's time for both of those things. And then stillness. I talk about stillness a lot these days because it's so important in a time where in COVID, where everything's kind of chaotic and school is just messed up and everything's just so hard. It's so important to just spend time with God, like just quietly. Like, that's when relationships are really are strengthened, is when you're just like quiet together. Maybe you're driving with your parents and you get out of the car and you're like, wow, we were just quiet that whole time. But there's trust built in those moments. And so you can do that with God too. Just like pick a spot, maybe put a timer on, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, just like be quiet with God. And then the other thing is like community with each other. And that's what Brookside Youth is all about. We're just like, we want to hang out with you, talk about a little bit deeper stuff, be a support to you. Like spending time with people who are going to encourage you in your spiritual life. Like, that's so important for trying to figure out, how do I put God first? Well, bouncing things off of me, bouncing things off of our youth leaders, bouncing things off of each other. And you'll end up finding like, wow, like some of this is actually more important. And so that's what Jesus is teaching. He's saying, if you don't hate your father and mother, which first of all, that's like, my knee-jerk reaction is like, that's awful. Like, you can't hate your father and mother. But his point is like, nothing can come first. Not even your parents, not even your brother and sister. Like, no one can come first. But if you don't do that, if you don't accurately and like appropriately and like rightly put God first, he actually says, you cannot follow me. You can't be my disciple. Because he really is that, it's that severe of a decision to like put him first. But the lovely thing is, once you put God first, God is love. God is he is peace. He's not saying you're going to have to actively hate and be aggressive toward all these people. He's just saying, I got to take priority. But when you like appropriately give God the priority in your life, oh my goodness, that's when we can like fulfill all of the fruits of the Spirit. And maybe you guys are familiar with this, maybe you're not, but the fruits of the Spirit are like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, like a brotherly love, like affection, perseverance, like these things that you do in life, these encouraging things, like this is how you are supportive. It's from the place of putting God first, and then he'll like bless you and he'll like give you provision and he'll like help you out when you're having a hard time. And through that whole time, that's when you get to like be the most free to show awesome love and support to your friends and your family. And that's when you can have like the best experiences. So the bottom line is God's got to take priority in your life. And I want to help you do that. I really want to help you do that because it's so wonderful to like have a life where you're putting God first. And then from that place, having these awesome experiences all throughout life. So my question for you today is like, what is the one thing that you really should change about your life in order to put God first? Maybe something that you've been feeling guilty about, maybe something you've been feeling a little bit like, yeah, I probably should stop doing that so much. Like, what is the one thing and what's it gonna cost you to really put God first? I'll see you in the next video.